Hey, what's up, everybody? Shinwar here with Geek-N-Out, bringing you the latest and greatest in comics, games, toys, and tech. And this is a first for me. I'm actually doing my first review of a movie slash TV show. And to help me with this is my brother in arms from my experience from Thumb Thrash and Gaming. Yeah, still can't do it. But Noop 1949, welcome, sir.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for allowing me to be here. And yeah, let's get this started.
Yeah, so what we're gonna be reviewing is Cobra Kai is finally on YouTube Red, and I'm excited. I watched all 10 episodes. And this is a long time coming. We're big Karate Kid fans from the 80s, part 1, part 2, part 3. I won't talk about the next Karate Kid, nor the was it the Jaden Smith one? We're going back to the original trilogy. So yeah, we're just gonna go over episode 1, which is called Ace Degenerate, and this is really the the opening, the start of Cobra Kai. So for all you Karate Kid fans, stay locked in, and let's begin. So we open up with Cobra Kai. It goes back to the original 1984 movie, and it has the ending scenes when Johnny Lawrence, played by William Zabka, and Daniel LaRusso, played by Ralph Macchio. And it has the ending fight tournament scene, and we all know the outcome of that. Daniel LaRusso won. And what's interesting is he beat him with the crane kick, as we all know. But I know the producers of the show actually went into the archives, and I think they said they called Sony and found some old footage, and it was actually like different angle shots.
Yep.
Of when he did the crane kick, and I thought that was really good. Never before seen footage after all these years, and he gets kicked by the crane kick, and then they filmed in 2018, or maybe it was the end of 2017, I don't know, but they had new footage of Johnny falling to the mat, which obviously wasn't filmed, or we don't know that it was filmed back then, but this is new shot of him being older, but still playing a young Johnny, and you see him laid out on that mat. And the scene cuts, and then he wakes up and he's like drunk, knocked out, in his apartment. What did you think about that opening scene, Noob? I enjoyed it. What you think about that?
I enjoyed it. It's what everyone truly remembers from the series. It was hilarious, unfortunately, because you could just tell, like, when he woke up from the scene of getting kicked in the face to being in that bed, that kick just jacked his life up.
Yeah, and this is a redemption story, and it it made it seem like he was knocked out there the entire time. But obviously, he wasn't. He's been doing other things, but it's really to show you how his life has pretty much spiraled out of control ever since Daniel LaRusso beat him. But moving forward, so Johnny wakes up, and you can clearly see he's a drinker. he's a heavy drinker, like.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. It's a man that's fallen on hard times, so he drinks a lot. But yeah, it's really, the opening scene is to really start I don't want to say categorizing, but to really show Johnny's character now. He's a working man, no longer into martial arts. He's just like the everyday Joe. He has a job. And what's his job, bro? He's maintenance man?
It was like a handyman, basically. or I think I would say electrician, because he messed with a couple of things.
Yeah, and I think he's working for some company or whatever. Some guy, and then he has a run-in with this lady, and but he wasn't wrong in this.
He wasn't wrong.
She told him to hang up the TV next, was it across from the door?
Across from the door.
Across from the door. So he did exactly what she said. So apparently there were 2 doors in the room. And she got upset or whatever, and long story short, Johnny winds up getting fired.
And he told her to stop mitching at me, replace the M with a B. And she said, "Would you call me?" And so she called the company and said that he called her a Mitch, but he didn't.
Right. And pretty much, he's fired or whatever. And what's crazy is he's still driving the same car he
was driving in high school.
I can't believe. Wait a minute.
He took care of his vehicle, yo.
He did. So after that, he's driving, and what does he see in California? He sees a billboard that says LaRusso Auto Group. We kicked the competition. And you see Daniel LaRusso with that foot out, yo.
So he sees his rival and nemesis literally using the metaphor of a kick, which ruined his life, on his billboard, because he's now super duper rich and successful, while this dude, dog, you're at the bottom of the barrel when you wake up. And fellas, you can relate to this. When you wake up the next day, you finish off your beer from last night and you fry 3 pieces of bologna. Like, that's how bad off.
And put that ketchup on it, yo.
That ketchup was disgusting looking. This was runny.
It was wet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you know your life is jacked up, man. He like a young Jigsaw from Saw, yo.
I'm getting right off.
But yeah, that billboard is like the epitome, man.
Yeah, so Johnny heads over to a strip mall to get some food. He's all bearded out, look like Bearded Cap from the Avengers. But he goes to the strip mall, and the funny part. So let me remind you. Everybody knows this is a comedy/drama. So you're gonna have funny moments in this, and moments where you're looking at it, you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't look right. For example, he ordered pizza from this convenience shop.
From a gas station. That's another sign that he's on hard times. When you ordering pizza at the gas station.
Yo, that guy was holding his pizza the entire time, talking to him. Like, how unsanitary is that? Yo, that's crazy.
I'm talking about I'm looking at it. His fingers are on top of the cheese, y'all, not underneath the crust. Yeah. And then he asked him for a plate, and you can hear him shuffling through stuff trying to find a plate. It is terrible.
Yeah, and also in the convenience store is a future young pupil that he met earlier that lives in his apartment complex by the name of Miguel Diaz, who is pretty much the new antagonist, and you can see like he's soft. Obviously he doesn't know how to fight. He's probably been in a fight, but always gets beat up or whatever. And Johnny goes outside to eat his pizza, and Miguel buys some Pepto-Bismol. I think it was for his grandmother.
Yeah, it's for his grandma.
It's for his grandma. And you got the typical bullies, these 4 bullies. And there's a homeless woman out there, I just noticed.
Yeah, there's a homeless woman out there.
Yeah, so they go in, and then they come out, and then they pretty much pick on Miguel, and they took the Pepto-Bismol and poured it on his head. Just terrible.
Yeah,
kids...
Because what happened was... what you was about to say?
No, I was just saying, kids are terrible, but go ahead.
Yeah, they did that because he louted them out in the store. They were trying to buy some alcohol underage.
Right.
And they got mad because he louted them out. He basically was trying to speak with them. And so... yeah, so they start picking on him. Go ahead. Yeah,
and then, they're outside, they're picking on him, whatever. They put the Pepto-Bismol over his head, and Johnny's out there eating his pizza, and he doesn't care. He's just he doesn't care at all, trying to live his life or whatever. But the reason he intervenes in this situation because they pushed him on his car. I think he has a Firebird.
Yeah, you can. That's a classic, yo. His was beat up.
Yeah, yo. Back from the 80s, yo. And they pushed him onto there, and then Johnny gets, fired up because, like, that's his car. And he's like, hey, lay off the dork. Like, one thing I noticed about Cobra Kai, yo, Johnny doesn't hold back his words for nothing, yo.
For nobody, yo.
He don't care. Yo, you talk about politically correct, throw it out the window. I mean, he already called Miguel. He was like, when he first met him, he was like, great, more immigrants. Like, yo.
Yeah, and his mouth is very filthy. Like, the P word flew a lot.
Yeah. And you could tell that he's like still in the 80s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He still has the old cassette player in his old car, and that's fine. You know that's the character, but it's time to put him in modern times. So
Nope.
he
That
intervenes.
old McDonald's in the background. I just noticed that watching the fight
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah, so he goes in and fights these bullies that was picking on Miguel, and he pretty much wipes the floor with them. And you can tell he still got it.
Yeah, when he did that first he did that first kick, he grabbed his knee, yo. Been a while.
Yeah. Yeah, and then and it goes to show you that these kids are brave because they was fighting them back, yo.
Yeah, they was fighting him back, yo. And he'd already got some good licks in on him. He flipped him over, he started holding his back, yo.
Yeah, yo. So, Cobra Kai really never dies, yo. Was it strike first, strike hard, no mercy, yo.
Yep.
But so Johnny dispatches these kids, and then the cops come, and guess who gets taken away? Yo, they spray mace in his face, yo.
They ran up to him and maced him right in his face.
Because it looked like an adult was beating up on these kids. I mean, he was, but he was defending Miguel Diaz.
Yeah.
So what happened? Okay, so he leaves. He leaves and he goes back to his apartment. Miguel was like, "Oh, what was that?" He called it some type of martial arts. And then he was like, "No, it's karate, blah, 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 blah." And he was like, "Can you teach me?" And obviously Johnny is very reluctant. He's like, "No, blah, 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 blah." I'm just going to skip through this because, the episode was what, like 27 minutes long. So I'm just going to just go over the major stuff. But one interesting part about Johnny's backstory is he visits his stepdad, played by Ed Asner. Now, if you don't know who Ed Asner is, we gotta talk. Ed Asner, he played Hudson in Gargoyles. He played Granny Goodness in Superman, yo.
He's done a lot of parts if you know him. But yeah, he was waiting for he bailed him. He's the one who bailed him out, and he was waiting for him in his apartment. So this is the first time you really get a personal look into his life. So he's basically berating him and asking when is he gonna screw up again and all this stuff. So it lets you know that beyond what you've been seeing, he's just been in and out of trouble the whole time.
Right. And it goes to show back. It's a callback to the older films. Obviously, you didn't really see Johnny's parents in the older films, so, they created and developed this story behind them. But, Johnny's a sympathetic character where, he was led down a path because there was no fatherly influence to keep him out of trouble. And obviously Ed Asner was, there with Johnny's mother, to really just pay for everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so the scene where he meets him, he's like, "I'm gonna buy you out of my life, yo."
He gave him a check. You don't see what the check is written for. Obviously, with his pride, he rips it, throws it in the trash.
Right. Yeah. And that goes to show Johnny's all about, you know what? I don't need you. I can do it myself. Blah 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 blah.
Yep.
So moving forward, let's see. He's watching movies. Okay, yeah, this is the best scene. This was in the trailer. So it's late night. Johnny, he's watching TV. And I think he was watching Top Gun. It was Top Gun he was watching.
Yeah.
And the LaRusso Auto Group commercial comes on, yo. Now, Johnny got the wife beater on in the jeans, yo, and the channel won't turn. So he's trying to turn it because he sees his old rival, Daniel LaRusso. Let me ask you this, Snoop. Now, and realistically, we all gone through some stuff in high school. For me, that stuff doesn't have a bearing on me now. I'm older, whatever. Do you think, in the context of Cobra Kai, that, this rivalry should have been buried a long time ago?
Oh, we missed something. All right, I thought that was it. Also, when he gets out and his stepdad kind of berates him, we find out that he has a son.
All right,
and find out that he's been absent in his son's life. Like he's like, how old is he now? So the who we find out his stepdad doesn't even know, and neither does he really. He's just out of it still. But to answer your question, there are definitely some. I got a story, but I don't want to drag your podcast. I did have a homeboy. This is funny. I had a homeboy. We were really close in middle school, actually, and we fell out because now this is for my nerdy people. 9999. What system came out? September 9th, 1999.
Oh, Dreamcast.
Dreamcast. If you know, those games were very rare and very delicate. You scratched it, it didn't work anymore. And I let one of my friends borrow a couple of games. I let him hold. It was the top-down zombie shooter game. I think it was called Zombie Revenge or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I let him hold a couple other games. And then he held them, never gave them back to me. He stole my games or whatever. He found me on Facebook like last year or a couple years ago and sent me a message like, man, you know, we used to be cool and stuff like that. And I don't really remember what happened. I think it had something to do with some games, man, but I'll send you the money, man. But, you know, I apologize. I've grown now and blah, blah, blah. Like, he brought it up. Mm-hmm. And it was why we fell out, because you were my friend and you stole from me. You know, it didn't bother me. I didn't even, like, when I saw it, I was like, wow, like, he still held on to that. Like, mm-hmm. So that stuff, you can have an impact on people, man. It can be traumatic. Yeah.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because at the end of Karate Kid Part 1, you know, after Johnny Lawrence's defeat, you see him pretty much congratulate Daniel and give him the trophy. So, you know, it was a sign of respect. And then, you know, at the beginning of Part 2, with the whole issue after the tournament with Sensei John Kreese, and, you know, pretty much he was mad that Johnny lost and broke his trophy, second place trophy. He broke it, and then, you know, was choking him and all that. So, you know, you're thinking after that, like, Johnny and him, you know, that's it. They pretty much don't have anything to talk about. But what's good about Cobra Kai is all that stuff resurfaces, and you know, a lot of things from the past have a bearing now on the present. But to go back, Noop, what you said, yes, Johnny has a child, and he's not in his son's life, and I'll be covering this in future episodes about the mother and the stuff that she's up to, and, you know, why the kid is like this. But it all plays up to the very end. But yeah, so fast forward, and so Johnny's looking at TV and comes across the LaRusso Auto Group commercial,
He's drinking again, by the way. He pours the liquor straight into the soda can.
Yeah,
so I guess he's mixing it.
Yeah, and he's a heavy drinker. But yeah, so
Light Banquet is his drink of choice.
So you see LaRusso, you know, and this is just the first glimpse of what happened to Daniel after pretty much Karate Kid 3. And obviously there's no Pat Morita because he passed away, and so Mr. Miyagi, in the context of the show, had passed away as well. But so he's getting mad, you know, the channel can't turn, and he's like, you know, upset by seeing his old rival, and pretty much kind of blames him in his mind for a lot of the stuff that's happened. Lost his girl, lost the championship, yo.
Yeah, when Mr. Miyagi beat him and his boys up.
And beat it, yep. So Johnny decides to go for a drive in a Firebird, and where does he go? He heads over to, the old All Valley tournament.
Yep, the center where they held the tournament.
The center where they held the tournament. And then they're showing clips and scenes of flashbacks, which I thought was good. You know, not for nothing, William Zabka, there was other couple movies he was in, but, you know,
what?
Yeah, he was in Shoot Fighter, and I'll talk about that. I'll talk to you offline about that with Bolo Young, yo. Bolo Young was his master, yo. Anyway, he's there drinking and reminiscing on the past, and a car slams into his car, and it's these three girls.
He wasn't in the car, by the way.
Yeah, he was right. He wasn't in the car. He was standing, looking at the center where the tournament was, and he's irate. He's upset that these three girls, and he got a glimpse of one of them in the back seat, and you'll find out who that is in I think probably the same episode or next episode.
Same.
Was it the same episode? Was it the same? Anyway, so he's upset, car's damaged or whatever, so he calls a tow truck. Tow truck takes the car. Guy said you can pick it up in the morning. Guess where the car goes to? The LaRusso Auto Group, yo. And you know, real quick, I'm glad that they chose that, because in the first Karate
episode,
the first Karate Kid, movies, Mr. Miyagi taught Daniel about working on cars. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool, and that he expounded on that and started his own company. So obviously, I think the man probably, most likely after part 3, went to college, which I think Mr. Miyagi wanted him to, but I think he had wanted to stay. But he went to college, whatever, and then got rich and started his business, got rich, whatever. He's living good. Where contrast to Johnny's living bad. So he goes into the LaRusso Auto Group to pick up his car. Those sunglasses and that hoodie, yo.
Hoodie on, yo.
God.
Yo, Johnny looked like he stank too, yo.
He ain't washed up.
Yeah, you just look at somebody and just know that they musky. That's how he look, man.
Yeah. I think they really wanted to portray like this guy is really just down and bad. Yeah, that's it. So he's talking to the receptionist and he was like, can I get my car? Blah, 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 blah. And then she's like, he was going to take it to another place to get it fixed.
Take it somewhere else.
Right. And she was like, oh, this is the best here. We'll take care of it for you. So Johnny's being, persistent about, hey, just get my car. Because he knows his rival, Daniel, is in the vicinity, yo.
Doesn't want to see him. So he's avoided him, y'all. Like the plague. Like, he does not want this guy to see him.
Yeah. And he's walking out, and who voice does he hear? He says Johnny, and it's Daniel.
Yep.
So this is pretty much like the first meeting. What did you think about this whole scene, Noop? And I didn't even go into it yet, but I love the nostalgia. I love the interaction. It reminded me of like Goku, Vegeta, Ken and Ryu.
He said Goku, Vegeta.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right, we can talk about this whole scene. Where
we might as well just go over it. Go ahead. I'll let you run with it.
What I didn't like, and which probably wouldn't happen in real life. Obviously, this is a movie, but they have a little conversation. You can look at Johnny and tell he's jacked up. And he brings over who I guess one of the guys that works at his shop is his cousin.
It's his cousin, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so clearly he's told them the story because they're like, "Oh, this is the guy's ass you kicked," right? So,
it's terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible, man. And I was just like, ugh. And you could just feel the tension.
Yeah.
And another key, they bring up the girl again. I forget her name.
Oh, I forgot her. Allie? Was it? I don't remember. But go ahead.
Yeah, they bring that up again or whatever, which was hilarious to me. And but at the end of it, Danny seemed to be cool and over it and past it. To me, Johnny clearly still holding on to it. Oh, you rich bastard! You know what I'm saying? And so he wants to take his car elsewhere. But the repair is worth more what the car is worth, and Danny.
Well, hold on, but before you do that, I was telling numerous people about this, like, everybody was like, "Oh, is this the guy you beat up or whatever?" And he's like, "Well, technically, I kicked his face." The thing with Daniel, and if you look at the first films, he was always like that, like cocky, brash, funny, trying to be funny, but never really no ill intent, but just trying to be
smart ass.
That's right. That's what it was. But Miyagi pretty much was teaching him like, yo, you don't be like that. That was his anchor. But you see it really come out here full force. Yo, just a douche, just being a jerk and just being a douche. That was always his character. But go ahead, Noop. Go ahead.
He was definitely douchey, you could tell. But he kind of humbled himself and was like, hey, I'll fix it for free. And then now, he said he got something for him. He gives everyone a bonsai tree. Now, when he goes to get the bonsai tree, his daughter, who we found out, gives him a hug. And she was in the car with the girls that hit his car initially.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets his bonsai tree and he walks outside and he drops it on the ground and walks off.
Now, real quick, they talked about the final scene in part 1 where, you know, the whole crane kick, and there's been a lot of debate. You know, Johnny said that was an illegal hit, but it wasn't. It wasn't, and in real life, it wouldn't have been. If he would have punched him in his face, that would have been illegal. But a kick to the face is not. So that was just for clarification.
Yeah, that kick is so symbolic, man.
Yeah.
It ended everything for that guy, yo.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because when you look later at what his life was actually like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, outside of school, when you see more into his character, it's like, dang, how could someone who had that end up like that?
Right.
Hey.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, the future episodes really dwell. And we gotta remember that this is a comedy, but it's also, you know, a continuation. I don't want to spoil, but you know, I believe there's gonna be a season 2, which, you know,
there has to be, bro.
Yeah, it has to be a season 2.
Mm-hmm. With the way they set this up. Well, let's finish talking about it, and then we can like go into that.
We'll do that at the end. No, you're right. We'll do that at the end.
But he leaves the dealership. He finds Miguel, and says he's gonna train him. Takes the check from his stepdad out the trash. Cause he did that one rip. You know how you rip something, but you just rip in half once. He didn't do like the million rip. He
did that one rip. Yep, did that one rip.
Let me do that one, yo. And,
but I think with Johnny, he's always been competitive, where he didn't want LaRusso, you know, to be like, well, you're not gonna get the best of me. But Johnny had to figure out, like, what is he good at? You know what I'm saying? What helped him out? And there's a future episode which shows that, but it was the Cobra Kai. It was the Cobra Kai dojo that really pretty much made him who he was. So he wanted to resurrect that. So like Noop said, he takes his stepfather's check that he rips up and then pretty much tapes it back together, and opens up the dojo. And his first student will be Miguel. And that pretty much closes out the first episode. And he puts the headband on too, yo. He back, yo. Johnny Lawrence.
You find out something about that headband later, which I didn't remember, but he brought that up too.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know that that's really a spoiler we can say now or not. I don't know. But
yeah. But the first episode was really all about Johnny, where he's been, what he's doing, and the comeback. In episode 2, and I know the producers have said this, that episode 2 was more of a focus on Daniel LaRusso. So it was like, this is this guy, this is that guy, and then, you know, everything else, you know, we'll move forward after that. But I know for me, you know, besides their relationship, I wanted to see how Daniel handle Miyagi's passing away. And I think everybody, you know, that father-son thing, how that, and then the season, you know, it goes through that. There's, you know, some episodes, you know, where it's a callback to Mr. Miyagi. And real interesting note though, Ralph Macchio, William Zabka, they were both co-producers. Will Smith is an executive producer on this.
Oh.
Did you see the name up there?
I didn't see that.
And then I started thinking about, he was an executive producer on the Jaden Smith version. So I think he really likes the Karate Kid.
That, and he maybe bought some rights into the series or whatnot.
That makes sense for him to do the Jaden Smith one. Ooh, that's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, all in all, this was just, you know, we couldn't go over everything because we can be here for hours. And we just wanted to briefly talk about the episodes and the stuff that we liked. And I enjoyed the first episode. What about you, Newt?
It was extremely good. My dumb behind, I wasn't watching the trailers. I thought it was a movie. So I'm thinking this is going to be a theatrical release. And I was like, oh, my God, I'm definitely going to go see that. Mm-hmm. But the producer said we basically took a 5-hour movie and chopped it up into 10 pieces.
Yeah. Yep.
And they did a brilliant job, man. Like, they kept, you know how like you have something retro that you love and you're scared that when they try to bring it back or redo it, they're gonna screw it up. Mm-hmm. That's one of these. Like if they would have messed it up, they would have been butchered. But they hit the nail on the head, man. Like by the time you get to the end of the series, you see and experience the Karate Kid all over again, man, and it's so dope.
Yeah, you know, everybody's older, but if you don't know, the writers and producers of this show are the same people that did Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah.
So that's why, and I think William Zabka was in Hot Tub Time Machine. So that's why you get a couple scenes and dialogue. It's kind of raunchy, you know.
It's very raunchy.
Very
it's
raunchy.
Definitely not for the kids. Like
right. So and once again, it's a comedy too. So there are some raunchy parts in there. But as a whole, you know, the nostalgia and in future episodes, you know, we're gonna talk about some things like, well, maybe they shouldn't have did a callback here, maybe they should have did a callback here or whatever. But as a whole, I enjoyed it. Another gripe, YouTube Red. Now,
yeah,
I don't know, cause honest, this could have worked on Netflix, dog.
you know, yeah, I definitely think it could have worked on Netflix. But I don't. Yeah, but I mean, dog. But here's the thing. Episode 1 has over 12 million views already.
Does it? I didn't even check out the views.
I'm looking at it, 12,310,147. So, yeah. Netflix, I don't know. I don't know who cut them the better deal, but, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see the next one or season 2 on Netflix. Because some shows do jump.
Right.
3 days, 12 million views. Wow.
Yeah. That just shows you that there's people that want to see it. And then I've looked at other reviews and critics. It's a hit. It's good.
Yeah, it's definitely good, man.
And, you know, in future episodes, we'll talk about, you know, some returning characters we may want to see. I'm going to talk about some of the acting, which is, there's a couple scenes in the final episodes where I thought the acting was a little meh. It could have been a little better. But as a whole, I think Cobra Kai is good, and I'm glad it focuses on, you know, the antagonists who were the first movie was the antagonist, so it's a redemption story. So
yeah, and I'm glad they didn't make it predictable.
Yes.
I was afraid of that. I was afraid of knowing what was going to happen next. This series is unpredictable, in my opinion. Like, so much stuff happened that I did not expect. Things took twists and turns, and the other thing is, like, you really felt the characters. Like, you really felt like, dang, Johnny's life is messed up. Dang, Danny's life is great. Mm-hmm. Like, you felt it, yo. That bologna in the morning. I was like, yo, that's you on tough times, yo. When you frying up bologna in the morning. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was good. So like I said, that's first episode's review. If you haven't seen Cobra Kai yet, go see it, binge watch it. It's only 10 episodes. Really good. YouTube Red. That's all I really got. Stay tuned for more reviews, because we're gonna be doing. I'm really trying to get into this arena and realm to do reviews. Any last words from you, Noob?
Nope.
Yeah, where can they reach you? Where can they follow you at?
Thrasher Gaming. I am on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and also From My Experience podcast on those same platforms. Appreciate it. Can't wait to do the next one. I'm actually probably going to rewatch the entire series again, man. Just it was that good.
Yeah, you know, I'm probably gonna do the same thing, and I'll also leave in the description below your information, your social media contacts, so you know people can follow you and see what you're into.
Yeah, cool. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. So that's it. Signing off. I'll be back with another review video. So take care, guys. Peace.